Hey, what up, YouTube world? Shout out to my truck hustlers, man. I know y'all out here on the highways and byways doing y'all thing. Like always, I appreciate y'all tapping into the content. You know, I want to salute y'all and thank y'all. Y'all got us to 700 subscribers in 3 months. Definitely appreciate that. But you know, like always, if you haven't already, go and binge some of the other content, like this video, and subscribe to the channel. Alright? It ain't too many people out here giving y'all the game raw. And you already know how we do over here at Raw Trucking. Is all about the content and giving good information to the people. Alright? So now that we got our introduction out the way, let's get to the real stuff. So we know what's going on right now. We see what's going on with the diesel prices surging. You know, spot market rates are looking a little bit crazy. So you got a lot of people that's new in the game and people with experience, you know, shuffling their wheels right now, trying to figure out what's going on. All right. So first and foremost, before I even get into this, I want to reiterate something. I'm here for the drivers, man. I'm here for the people that's want a entrepreneur spirit, who getting into the trucking and want to do good by their people that's behind the wheel. So don't never get that misconstrued. I want to make sure I let y'all know I'm here in support of the drivers. But with that being said, drivers got to support themselves. And what I mean by that is y'all got to understand the business of freight, man. All right. It's very important to do that because I see too many times where guys just shifting the blame to people who don't truly deserve all of the blame. And y'all already know where I'm about to go with this. So today, the topic is the spot market, aka the load board, versus direct freight. All right. This is not a one size fits all situation. Everybody's fleet is different. Everybody's location is different. Everybody's driver capabilities are different. Okay. So you can't take what the next man or woman says for 100% certainty when it comes to your operation. All right. First thing first, you got to know your numbers. You'll be surprised how many guys out here don't actually know what it costs for them to operate per mile. Okay. That's why you always see this: don't take cheap freight. Okay. But if you got driver A and his cost per mile is 60 cents per mile, and you got driver B who's $2.20 per mile at their cost, if that guy at 60 cents takes a load at $2.50 a mile, that's very profitable for that individual. Okay. And on that same token, that guy that's $2.20+ per mile, if he takes a $2.50 per mile load, he's barely breaking even, right? If not taking a loss. But the gentleman with the higher overhead, he can't blame that other guy for taking that rate if it's profitable for him. Okay. So it's very important that we understand that first. Go understand your cost per mile, man. And don't be worried about what the other guy or girl is doing. Worry about your own shit, man. We got too much of that going on. Stop worrying about what such and such is doing and how they're operating and what type of rates they're taking. You get what you need. All right. And if you understand the business of freight, you can make that happen. All right. So that's first things first. So now you got all of these guys that'll tell you, hey, get off the board, get off the board. While I do agree that the load board should not be your end all be all, it is a very, very important tool to have in your toolbox. Why? Because even when you secure direct freight, you have to still know how to maneuver when you get to these other places that are outside of your home base. So no matter what, you need to know how to maneuver the board. Okay. Now, when it comes to direct freight, most of the guys that are drivers have zero sales experience. A lot of guys are terrified to work the phones, go sell themselves in person, whatever the case may be. So getting direct freight ain't as easy as a lot of these people advertise. Okay. And then the other side of that is, once again, understanding the business of freight, right? If you call a direct shipper and they need 10 loads moved a week, well, 10 loads moved a day, and you only have one truck, what is the benefit of that direct shipper using you? Because they need a whole bunch of other operations just like you to fulfill their needs. Wouldn't it make more sense for them to use a broker? Because now they can just outsource all the work to the broker and they can worry about sustaining all those trucks. Okay, because most manufacturers don't have an in-house full-on transportation team, meaning brokers, their own trucks, the whole nine. Normally they have a guy or two who's in charge of handling the inbound and outbound freight, and they will be more than happy to take some of that workload off of their plate. This is the reason why brokers exist in the first place, man. Now, I'm not here to tell you that you won't get direct relationships and be able to move freight without a broker. I'm not telling you that. What I'm telling you is it's not as easy as people lead on, okay? You got folks thinking that brokers just wake up and they got 10 shippers and they got all the freight in the world. Man, listen, most brokers struggle more than the carriers. This is what a lot of people don't know. The majority of brokers are not getting rich off of this. I promise you that, okay? And the reason why is the brokers don't determine the rates. They're it's just as competitive in the broker world as it is in the owner-op world. Okay, you got a million people thinking they can just hop right into the broker game and they go out here and they bid super cheap to win the work from that shipper. The problem with that is there's not enough meat left on the bone for the carrier or really for the broker, because a lot of these guys, they take this cheap freight when they're new and now they only making $25 to move these cheap ass loads. Trust me, if a broker could pay high money on every load and still make the margin they want to make, I can almost guarantee you the majority of them would do it. I ain't talking about the slime balls. It's slime balls on both sides now. Every broker ain't an angel. Neither is every carrier. So let's be honest here, because truthfully, if you build out your operation the right way, you will find some good solid brokers that you can build with. And why would you not want to have a broker on your side who all day, all they're worried about is securing more freight? That's literally how they get paid, right? While you're out driving, running your operation, taking care of your other drivers, you have somebody that you can rely on that's bringing in work for you consistently because they know you're reliable, right? It's a mutually beneficial relationship when it's done the right way. All right. But you got too many guys that don't want to participate in this team environment. All right. And that's what trucking is. Don't get it twisted. All right. Because if you get a good broker on your side, now they can be feeding you. They already know your rate. OK, when I train people on logistics, I always say the same thing. If you're in your mind, if your rate that you want to get, let's say $4.25 per mile, why do you care who you get it from? If the broker can pay you that and the shipper can pay you that, is it more valuable if you're getting it from the shipper? If you're getting the number that you want? You see what I'm saying? Think about the request that you're making, and don't get caught up with a lot of these guys on Facebook. A lot of them folks is company drivers just talking shit. Let's keep it real, man. You hear some of the most outlandish comments on these social media pages. You got guys posting loads for 600 miles, paying $4 a mile, and somebody will tell you that's cheap. Man, listen, that's not cheap. If your overhead is that high to where you can't profit off $4 a mile, that's your problem, okay? You can't. In any other business in the world, if you go to a hamburger stand right now and they're selling hamburgers for $25 and they tell you it's because they got a whole bunch of loans and they're over leveraged, so for their cost, they need to be able to charge $25 when you can go down the street and get a burger for $2. Hey, if you want to support them, that's cool. But they can't blame you and say, oh man, my overhead is high. You offer me this cheap stuff. That's not how it works, man. You chose to get into the trucking business. Your overhead is not anybody else's fault, okay? They don't care about that. They don't care about your sob stories. They care about what can you produce, and if you don't like what they're offering, move on to the next. You see what I'm saying? But the moral of the story is this, because I ain't going to be able to be too long before you guys. I just wanted to make sure I came back with some content. You need to put as much effort into mastering the spot market as well as getting direct shippers, okay? Because you're still gonna need them both. Even the big boys still use the spot market when they're moving from customer to customer. This is a fact. Any broker out there can vouch for this. The big boy carriers still use the spot market to fill in the gaps of other freight that they have directly. No matter what, you're still gonna need some variation of the spot market, especially when you start upping your fleet. Okay. And when you're a 1 truck, 2 truck operation, you truthfully, you need to be a free agent until you're able to lock down certain situations that's beneficial to you. Okay. Because most times you're not going to be able to solve a shipper's problem if you only have 1 or 2 trucks, 1 or 2 trailers. All right. They need capacity. Okay. So a smaller outfit is not going to be as attractive to a shipper. Now, you may be able to get a dedicated lane, which for those of you who don't know what that means, let's say they offer you, they're in Jacksonville, Florida, and they got freight going to Charleston, South Carolina every Monday. They may offer you something like that because only 1 truck is necessary, right? But no shipper in their right mind is going to take and make their job 10 times harder by having to work with carriers directly when they can just outsource it to a broker. It just makes more business sense, because for those of you who don't understand what it's like to be on the broker end of things, a lot of drivers are not good communicators, right? So now imagine, you know how it is. Anybody who's an owner op, you know how these brokers have the tracking companies that'll call you every damn hour. Well, they need to do that for a reason, because I can vouch. You got guys, after they book that load, you don't hear from them again. You don't hear from them again. You can't update your customer because the damn carrier won't answer the phone, right? So you think a shipper wants to go through that all day long? Tracking you guys down when they got a million other tasks that they have to handle? You see what I'm saying? Understand the business of freight, and it's going to help you maneuver, and it's also going to help you negotiate with these shippers and brokers, because a lot of things that guys don't know, these companies, these shippers, a lot of them forecast their cost in advance. So the rates that they're paying right now, they already knew 6 months ago what they were going to try to pay. They couldn't predict the market changes that come after that. Every company just can't throw more money on their shipments. Everybody ain't the big dogs like Amazon, Walmart, you name it. These smaller manufacturers, they can't compete with these guys, man. You see what I'm saying? So understand the business of freight. Like I said, I'm here for the drivers, man. I want y'all to learn. I want y'all to be as profitable as possible. If you out there taking the risk, it needs to be worth it. But don't think that the people on the other side, everybody's not against you, man. It's just not a fairy tale where if you say, hey, you need $5 a mile, and as a broker, all I have is $4 a mile in it, what can I do? I'm not going to be able to always go back to the shipper and say, hey, look, this guy needs an extra $700 on this load. You see what I'm saying? Like, if they don't have it to give, or they're not interested in moving it that fast, they'll hold out. You see what I'm saying? And that's neither your fault or theirs. That just doesn't work for you. But if you really want to make it happen, stop complaining about the brokers. Go find your own damn freight. If it's that easy, go find all your own shippers. You won't have to worry about that. You see what I'm saying? So you don't have to deal with it if you don't want to. But a lot of people don't have the skill set to go nail down multiple shippers. They're definitely afraid of talking. All right. It just is what it is. From my experiences, I've seen it time and time again. All right. So what I'm going to leave you guys with is get out here, truly understand the business of freight. Look at these industry trends. Don't just talk to your driver friends. Talk to everybody in the supply chain. When you go to these shippers and receivers, talk to the people that work there. See what type of volume of freight they got. See if they have a lot of smaller mom and pop companies versus a lot of the mega carriers. Because if you got the mega carriers in there delivering for them, you already know they chopping rates because they playing a volume game. All right. So look, understand what you're getting into. When times get tight like what they are right now, which is not a new thing. Anybody who's been around the block, you know, this always happens in trucking. Sometimes more drastic than others. But that's why it's important to know your numbers and build real relationships, whether it be with the broker or with the direct shipper, because honestly, you need them both. Okay. These guys that are telling you they don't use no brokers whatsoever, I'm here to tell you most of them are lying. Okay. Because it's not just that easy to have customer freight all over every place you go. No exceptions. Okay. Sometimes stuff happens with shippers to where they're not as popping as they were a couple months ago. And if you based all of your work off of that one shipper, what you gonna do then? All right. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Once again, it's your boy Monte. Y'all keep safe on this road. Stay hustling and stay hungry for information, man. You know, with that, I'm out. Peace from Raw Trucking, and y'all keep doing what you do, man.